Hey, so I wanted to talk about what happened outside my house as I was going to the grocery store on July 1st. Um, I've mentioned before that I've been a target of stalking since around 2006, 2005, 2006. After I went to the Celeb Center in Scientology on Franklin. Um, so part of that comes with not only being stalked and harassed, but being assaulted. On July 1st, I was leaving my house to go to Trader Joe's, and it was, I think, between 7 and 8 o'clock at night when it's cooler. And as I was crossing the street, prior to crossing the street, I left from the back of my building. There's one, I guess you could call it a gang stalker. He was by the stop sign in back of my building, and so I didn't want to go near them. And they just kind of like, when you come out, they come out. Part of the gang stalking is Scientology abuses neighborhood watch, stuff like that. So they'll actually have them monitor you as well. They'll abuse those resources with their own fair game agenda. Again, more abuse that they put out there on a target, wasting neighborhood resources. So while this cult gets away with their own crimes on a daily basis, 24/7, violation of human rights, civil rights, ripping people off out of their money. I mean, the list goes on, not to mention that part of their fortune comes from trafficking, and the police back everything that this cult does. This cult has the complete backing of the police department. So if this cult wants to stalk somebody, harass somebody, assault somebody, the police turns a blind eye. The police support this, and they pretend that they don't. And then they absolutely do not press charges against these people who perform these crimes. It's a very sad operation. And so they have people targeted who have, I don't know, goodwill, people who hate corruption, people who don't want to be a Scientologist, people who have said, I don't want to be a Scientologist, leave me alone. They don't take no for an answer. So a lot of resources in our community are wasted on this cult. Our police resources are wasted, and the police back this abuse, and then they cover it up, and they do not prosecute these individuals who perform fair game. None of them. So as I was crossing the street, I wanted to avoid this one guy that was behind my building, and they kind of sit there in their backpacks. They don't live in the area. And so I avoided him, and I crossed Cahuenga. As I was crossing Cahuenga with my phone in my hand, looking down, but also looking at the traffic to make sure I'm not going to get hit. I had my phone in my hand. I was glancing down. I look up, and I see this woman walking towards me. And she's like, "Oh, are you recording me?" And I'd never seen this woman before. Was not recording her. But as soon as I heard this, I desperately went to go start recording on my phone. And she came up, and when she came up to me, she had mentioned the recording again. And when I leave my house, when I start walking down the street, whether it's Wilcox, Cahuenga, whatever the situation is, when they're gang stalking you, they always say, "Are you recording me?" They like throw that in your face because they know that you are a target that will record them. If push comes to shove, you will use your phone. So they try to condition you with the gang stalking. They try to like intimidate you so you will not reach for your phone. So sometimes I get so tired of having to hear this, I will tell them to F off. I just don't want to be bothered. I just want to go to the post office and come back home and be left alone. Um, but, they have a way of injecting themselves in your life, your daily activities. Whether you decide to go running at the reservoir for a couple hours, they're going to make sure that they're there with you. And they're going to be driving up and down that canyon as you're running back down. They're going to be circling the blocks in their cars. It's such a spectacle. So anyways, when she said this to me and was charging at me, I was just like, don't effing talk to me. Because I had to make my way to the grocery store before 8 o'clock. Because Trader Joe's was going to close at 11. I'm sorry. Trader Joe's was going to close at 8 o'clock. 8. And it seems like I can't go anywhere and just be left alone without some type of interference, some type of conflict that is imposed on you. So I had already been stalked for years, assaulted. They've run into me, their car into my car. And the cops don't come when I've called them. This happened in Playa del Rey, at Culver in Sawtell, so just adjacent Playa del Rey, just adjacent Marina del Rey. The cops just looked at me and drove by, which is what they always do because they know what's going on. But they just don't prosecute these monsters, these criminals. So these criminals get violent, they get physical. So basically, I had taken a photo of this woman's car. It ended up being a hit and run because I couldn't read out the license plate, and the cops they don't assist in this situation, in those type of situations. So anyways, I started screaming at her, don't fucking talk to me. And I was making my way, but then I stopped because I noticed she was bull rushing me, and she hit me really, really hard. My phone went crashed into the ground. I really couldn't make out what I was typing when I was trying to use it after that. So I always had typos. So it was really tough getting on the internet. The cops, when I called 911, they were just like, oh, can you still see that person? I'm like, yes, come on out. They're like, okay, well, where's the person at? They were stalling. It's like, they want to have this conversation with you, and then they're like, oh, wait, can you still see them? Because they don't want to come out for this call. The cops know what's going on. In fact, everything that happens to me with these monsters gets recorded. So the cops got the 411. So they took like an hour and a half to come out. I ended up going to Ralph's on Western and Hollywood because Trader Joe's was closed with all this going on. I thought my hand was fractured. I had already just gotten off of crutches from a torn meniscus, and I'll get into that story, from a prior assault on November 12th of 2019. So, they have these people, these paid stalkers, gang stalkers, Scientology Fairgame, which is pretty mirror-esque. It's very similar to Antifa, except these are Scientologists. Sometimes I said, they'll enlist Neighborhood Watch. If I go to Culver City, they'll enlist the Neighborhood Watch to come and start circling me and watch me. So the abuse of resources, the abuse towards me, for not wanting to be a part of this cult is, it's, to talk about it, the things they do are so insane. But this is the reality, and also our police stations are backing this, they're supporting this. So that means if they hurt you, or you're left permanently disabled, they entrap you. Entrapping is another thing they do. I'm going to talk about how they've tried to entrap me for years, how I've been falsely arrested, even though there's proof nothing happened, that it was the fault of the other person. They entrap you. They will try to put you behind bars. They will try to kidnap you. And the cops allow this to run rampant. Scientology has the run of Los Angeles. They basically have the run of the country because this happens everywhere. We have a governor who allows this Gavin Newsom. I mean, the perpetuation of corruption is so intertwined. And, you know, they really love to put attention on someone to distract what is going on with all the trafficking going on with this cult. The people who belong to this cult are pedophiles. Nicole Kidman, her father had like this trafficking situation going on. She's a part of it. These people are so sick. The spotlight has to be put on me. So you know, they can get away doing with whatever they want to do. This is their way of punishing me. The police allow this because police are Scientologists. So anyways, long story short, a Detective Lou, was supposed to get the video from one of the businesses. So I had a video I'm going to post here on YouTube, a partial video, because this woman was coming at me. I'm like, here they are. They're right outside my house across the street. I go reach for my phone. I've got partial of it, but there's businesses that videotape this, and Detective Lou lied to me after I got them the assault video from the bus. They said they were going to go and get this video because I can't just go get it. It's just some businesses have rules. And Detective Lou never called me back. He never got the video. I just talked to Sergeant Larson a couple days ago, and I asked him, you know, what was going on with this, if they could get the video, and nobody calls me back. So it's all about them covering up for Scientology, allowing gang stalking by Scientology to run rampant throughout the city, for Scientology basically to abuse people, and the police are backing it. The police cover it up, and they've integrated that, indoctrinated one of their, you know, the fair game. The police have kind of intertwined that into how things are handled here with the cops. They allow these people to assault, and if they want to kill you, it's going to be covered up like all the other assaults and stalking that's been happening to me. And this is something that is in their so-called cult religion, fair game. It's their job to cover it up. It's their job. It's part of it's what they do. So I don't know what else to say about this, but that happened on July 1st, and I ended up going to Ralph's, and I had a walk at the time. And when I'm walking, not only are they still stalking me and the police are driving up and down the road, police don't stop. The police pretend that they're just in another world driving, even though I did step out in the street to try to stop them because this one guy was trying to get me in his car. So I know they've been trying to kidnap me. They do that to me when I go running up the canyon to the reservoir. It's a good 4 or 5 mile run. I haven't done it lately because I just don't feel safe. I have absolutely no protection. The police aren't there to help you. They're there to protect their gang stalkers, to make sure their gang stalkers are okay. And it's not all right. And not only do they follow you to the store and do everything I just mentioned, but if you have a routine of going to a certain store at a certain time, or just a certain store, they end up sending their people there at the store to stalk you in the store. They tell the store employees that you're being investigated. They make it sound like you're a criminal. So again, it's libel, it's slander. I don't know. It's so criminal what they do. And so this way, they sabotage your name and your reputation and your credibility. And they get the store to assist them because the store thinks that you're a bad person. And Scientology will send one of their people dressed in a security guard, or a security guard that happens to be a Scientologist, to go to the store, follow you through the store, stand outside the store, even though he doesn't work at Ralph's. He pretends he works at Ralph's. This is how sick it is. They'll send one of their Scientology people who doesn't work at Ralph's in a security outfit. They've done this to me on the bus when I've been on crutches. And these people are part of the stalking. And they'll try to entrap you. They'll I don't know what they say. She steals, she's a drug addict. I don't know what they say. She's being investigated. But this is part of the way that they alienate you from people understanding you, knowing you. And they turn people against you while they continue to commit crimes against you. And these people who don't know better will assist them. So I've had to have conversations with the managers. I've had to have conversations with the security guards and let them know what the 411 is, because honestly, I can't even go to the grocery store and buy some veggies and fruits in peace. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see like how psychotic these people are? This cult is allowed to do whatever they want in the city to whoever they want, and it's going to be swept under the carpet. That's not okay. That makes absolutely no sense to me. So anyways, I just want to end the video here, that this is, they infiltrate even places where you go shopping. And by the way, they did this to me at Target. I had went to the DMV one day. I stood in line for a couple hours, and they have people just they're not even in line. They stand next to you. They sit there. And I know what's going on. So anyways, long story short, I went to go run some errands. I did some things. I went to Target, and they had the same bitch that was stalking me standing next to me come up. I saw her in the grocery store. She was in the couple aisles away from me. So I'm like, okay, here we go. And so I avoided her, and I went across maybe 4 aisles, 5 aisles away from her. And the bitch started shopping right next to me. I called her out. And when she had done that, I don't know how many other Scientologists they send in there, but this is how sick this is. I called her out. I told her she should be ashamed of herself, and that she's breaking the law, and that I'm going to get security. And she took off. She took off. So, security, I informed security. They know what gang stalking is, and I explained everything to them. So, this is what I have to put up with. Yeah. So, that's all I want to say for this video. Hopefully, I made sense. It's hard talking about this. It's gotten easier because this is just who I am. This is my life. This is what's going on in my life. And I used to be really ashamed of it. I used to be so ashamed of it. But it's not my fault. The crimes people impose on you doesn't define you. It's happening for a reason. So this cult has a reputation of violating human and civil rights, like I said before. So I'm not going to be silent about it. Alright guys, see you in the next video.